a show that talks about real issues, real problems with real people. It's Real Talk. I'm your host, Tamara Thompson. Welcome back to Real Talk with Tamara. I have Rick Thompson with me. He brought his two assistant managers. Would you like to introduce them?
Yeah, this is Bill Hawkins, one of my assistants, and Patrick Epps, my other assistant, business manager of IBEW Local 1288 Union.
Okay, as the manager of an amazing union, tell me about your day-to-day, what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, number one, our purpose is to represent the employees of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Division and their grievances on a day-to-day basis. Any problem that they may have, they file grievances if they have problems, and we set up meetings with management and the employees to try to solve those grievances that they may have.
Would you say that in the capacity of a business manager that you would have to be pretty political savvy?
Well, let me just say this: if you're over any union, in these days dealing with this political situation, especially if you're in a public union, you have the Republican Party mainly, and some Democrats are doing all they can to destroy unions. So yes, you got to be pretty savvy, especially in our situation, because we're somewhat different from most unions in that if you're in the city of Memphis, in that everything that you do in most cases have to be approved by the Memphis City Council. In fact, what they do, they approve they approve MLGW budget with all of the salaries in that budget. They also, when we go to the bargaining table, when our contract expires, if we can't come up with an agreement, as you know, we got a no strike clause in our memorandum. So if you can't come up with an agreement, then you have to go to the Memphis City Council for them to come up with the final solution of your of your contract.
Okay, and you mentioned that Republicans and some Democrats are trying to destroy unions. And what do you think the main reasoning is for that?
Well, one reason is what you got to look at. Unions assure that employees and working people work for a fair wage. And most of the time, from what we see, is but mainly Republicans, but you got some Democrats. They most of the time make legislation to favor companies. So therefore, unions is like an equalizer.
Right.
What they try to do is make sure they make companies define your working condition and make companies define your salaries.
Okay, so unions are mainly for the people.
That's right, for the people.
Okay, is it important to have a good rapport with the opposing side, meaning MLG&W's management?
Well, you do all you can to try to work with them and have a harmonious relationship. However, most of the time, or a lot of times, it's hard to do. Because when we address situations, most of the time they're wrong. Or a lot of times they're wrong. And they don't like admitting when they're wrong. Management don't. So while our contract states that we need to have a harmonious relationship, a lot of times they make it very difficult to have one.
Okay. So what happens when the contract between IBEW and MLG&W expires?
Well, what happens when it expires 6 months prior to the end of our contract? We have to each submit proposals to the other in writing about what we want to change. And anything that we don't submit that propose to change just stays the same and goes into the next contract. If there's things that we don't agree on that are economic, then that goes to the impasse before the Memphis City Council. The Memphis City Council would decide whether they take our package in whole or MLGW's package in whole.
Okay. Okay, so describe to me what unfair labor practice is.
Unfair labor practice would be a practice in which, in my mind, where you're not being fair to the employee.
Mhm.
You're not being fair to the situation.
Okay.
You're going outside what would be normal, the bounds of normal things,
Mhm.
and you're pushing somebody in an unfair advantage. You're giving them, you're using things in a arbitrary and capricious manner.
Okay.
In fact, if they are not living up to the agreement that we agreed to,
Mhm.
and or they are not living up to company policy, then we would say that that is unfair labor practices, among other things.
Okay, is it possible for you guys to give me like an example of what unfair practice that you've had that was just really, is it possible?
Unfair labor practice, I would say, for example, if you have a rule in place and then you don't enforce that rule on everybody, but then suddenly they force it on you,
Okay.
that's unfair, because
Mhm.
they're singling you out and they're discriminating against you. That's not fair, it's not right.
Okay.
And that's when we step in and we address that through agreements. And we try to get, have to go all the way to arbitration if we have to, but
Mhm.
that's unfair. That's just one example of
Okay.
what management can do in an area to push an unfair practice against an employee.
Okay. Okay, well, you guys pretty much just touched on the grievance process, but, I mean, would you like to expound on the process, step by step? Would you like to do that?
Well, the process that we have, all unions have somewhat different procedures.
Mm-hmm.
But our union procedure will be, if you have a problem with management, then the first step would be to go talk to the supervisor
Mhm.
in your area. And verbally, everything is still verbal.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can't come to an agreement with that supervisor, then at that point, you move on to the department head.
Mhm.
At that point, you put it in writing. That's when the grievance is a legal grievance at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't come up with an agreement, that's second step. If you can't come up with an agreement with the department head, then you appeal it to third step. And at third step, at that point, our office is there as well, along with the grievance, the steward, department head, the labor relation manager, and his supervisors.
Mhm.
And if we can't come to an agreement at that point, then we have the option to appeal it to arbitration
Mm-hmm.
and or mediation, or both. And we can go to mediation. That's in our memorandum contract that says that it's a free mediation is a free procedure that is given to us by the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a neutral person that comes in and they hear and see, nothing is binding, but you try to come up with an agreement. And if we can't come up to an agreement, then we can go head on to arbitration. And at that point, it's like a judge sitting in the middle. We get it from the federal mediation in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And the person is never going to be from this area. It's going to be as far as California, could be from Maine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a guy who most of the time they're lawyers and professors and judges. And what they do is come in, hear your case, hear both sides. They render a decision, and at that point it's binding.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Real Talk with Tamara. I have Rick, Bill, and Pat here. They represent IBEW, workers of MLGNW. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Please clarify to me what it means when you say the state you live in is the right to work state?
Well, a lot of people misunderstand that name, right to work. They think they got the right to work. But right to work means that the employer can fire you at will. That means that in a right to work state, employees have no right. The only right they have is they cannot be discriminated against. Basically, right to work means they can fire you for any reason. Even if they come in and say, I don't like the way you, the color of the dress you got on, they can fire you as long as it's not about discrimination. And they have that right on the right to work. But most people think this means that they got the right to have a job. They got one right in a right to work state, and that's the right to quit the job. That's the only right they got. And barring that, the employee got all the rights except for discrimination, because you have a law in the book, a federal law that supersedes state law that says you can't discriminate. But for any other reason, you can be terminated from any job in a right to work state.
Okay. I know that you guys represent the employees of MLGNW, but do you also fight for the customers?
Oh, yeah. We always fight for the customers. I mean, whether it's in the grievance process, making sure that contracts that the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water goes into, we can challenge them, make sure they're within line with more affordable than we can do it. Or if they are higher, I mean, we keep them in-house. So we fight for the customers.
Okay. Tell me this. There was a lot of talk about smart meters. Tell me why the union is against smart meters.
Well, we've done research on smart meters for over 10 years. And everywhere in the entire world that smart meters have been put in place, they guarantee you one thing, and that's higher utility bills. It's going to affect your financial health. Everywhere in the world these meters have been put in, that's what's happened. Customers' bills go up immediately as soon as these meters are put in. Second thing customers need to know, your viewers need to know, is that these meters are run off of a Wi-Fi network. So they can be reprogrammed remotely without anybody standing in front of your meter saying, you know, hey, let's reprogram your meter. They're doing it from somewhere else in the world. So they can reprogram that meter, possibly, I've seen it done in the conference I went to run either faster or slower, which means your bill will go up or down depending on how they want to, you know, adjust your bill. But primarily, everyone's bill goes up. Everyone's bill goes up. That's what you need to know about smart meters. So opt out of that smart meter program when you get the letter. Opt out. You do not want smart meters in your house.
Because everywhere in the world that they have smart meters, your bill double or triple everywhere. Now, I don't know why they think it's going to be different here in Memphis, Tennessee. You got all over the whole country, people is trying to get rid of smart meters. So, believe me, you know, smart meters may be good one day, but it ain't good today. So, you know, the companies, MLGW is trying to say that the union is against technology. We're not against technology. We just don't want people bills to double and triple. You know, I live in this community, and I don't want to have to pay a higher bill just for smart meters.
Because bills are already high enough.
That's right.
Okay. What does IBEW stand for? And as business manager, who do you report to?
Oh, well, IBEW stands for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and of course, we local 1288. And I report to the district office, the international vice president in Chattanooga. His name is Bobby Klein, and that's basically who I report to.
Okay. I know you brought your assistant managers here with you. Can you guys answer for me what's expected of you on a day-to-day basis?
I've been doing this job. I've been working with Rick for 10 years now. I can't describe a typical day for you because the day you think it starts off one way and then meetings come up, events come up, things happen throughout the day. You have to handle that. You have to do it. This is, folks, this is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. Don't think you're working 8 to 4, then you get off. It doesn't work that way. MLGW has bargain unit employees that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as such, we have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that about sums it up, because, I mean, you have calls to answer, calls, messages to return, members who come by and have personal problems or issues that you can deal with. And, I mean, we just have to be working all the time, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I understand that IBEW Local 1288 has a talk show, a radio talk show. Tell me a little bit about your show.
Well, our show it comes on every Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
a 2-hour talk show. The name of it is the Labor Agenda Radio Talk Show. We come on AM 990, every Saturday from 3:05 to 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what we like to do is talk. We talk about everything that's on your mind. We talk about pertinent information about labor. We talk about information about MLGW. We talk about politics. And we let people talk about anything that is on their mind.
Okay.
It's about educating the public.
Okay. So, have you guys had to deal with any injustices at all?
How long is your show? If it was a perfect world, you wouldn't need a labor union to represent the bargaining employees. We deal with injustices on a daily basis, not just for the not just for the bargaining employees, but for the customers also.
And the thing that gets me, this is the thing that gets me. You have a lot of these, mainly Republicans, but some Democrats and some corporate leaders. They always talking against unions, but no corporate leader would take I don't care if the job paid $1 million or millions of dollars. They would not take that job without a contract. Because they know a contract defines your working condition and your salary. Then they they get appointed to the job. Then they come back to the job and say, "Oh no, you don't need no contract." Now he don't fought for a contract. He wants to define his salary. He wants to define his working condition. And then when the working man wants to define their salary and benefit, "Oh no, you don't need that." Now if it was good for him, why ain't it good for the everyday working man?
Absolutely. How closely do you all work with the director of MLGNW?
Well, we don't work that closely with him. I mean, he's not a director. His title is president
President, okay.
of MLGW, which is the same thing as a director if you're working at the sit-down at the city.
Mm-hmm.
We don't work that close with him. I do have meetings with him on a monthly basis, but other than that, there is no real communication.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Real Talk with Tamara. I have Rick, Bill, and Pat here. They are the managers and assistant managers of IBEW Local Union 1288. Tell me, Rick, what do you try to, tell me some of the things you try to convey to some of the members of the IBEW union.
Well, first, I try to tell them, make sure when they come to work safe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes no difference how much money you make. If you don't work safe, you get yourself hurt or killed, then you can't go back home to your family and you can't enjoy the money that you made.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I try to convey to them that they need to come to work, be on time, and do their job while they're at work. I tell them the company have absolutely exclusive right to expect for you to come to work, be on time, and do your job.
Okay. Now tell me about the Johnny Dawson Foundation.
Johnny Dawson Charter Foundation was established in about 2008. and it's a platform for IBW Local 28 to give back to the community. It's we spotlight the very, very young and the very old. We have a giving for the foundation about twice a year, where we give about $50,000 per session to these 501c3 organizations. I think it's a platform that we give back to the city of Memphis. We give back to Shelby County. It's just a way for labor to show that we're concerned, and I think all the labor throughout the nation, in order to change the face of labor, is going to have to start taking that approach.
We also believe that helping the community is everybody's responsibility. So, as Pat said, we give about $100,000 out a year, a minimum of $100,000 out a year, because we got a payroll deduction slot strictly for that charitable foundation. Then we also go, in addition to that, we pay people utility bills. On rare occasions. We usually like to try to do it through CSA, get them the money, go through their rules. But in rare cases, when there's a real emergency, then we go out and actually pay people salary. In fact, we had this elderly lady that was 78 years old. You know, she had a problem. She had a big bill that was $4,000. We went out and paid her utility bill, and also.
And these are just people within the community.
People within the community.
Absolutely.
So we paid out about $55,000, $60,000.
5,500 total, yeah.
Yep, about $5,500, because what we did, you know, she had a leak on her gas, and we had to have, we repiped the house for her, gas pipe for her, so she could get her gas turned on and take hot showers and all that kind of
So
stuff.
are these people referred to you guys, to your organization?
Sometimes they refer well, most of the time they refer to be somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Okay.
And our website for the JohnnyDawsonFoundation.org.
That's right.
And if you want to go there, you can look at the money we've donated to the various organizations. You can look at what we do. You can see more of what we do. And you can see that 99.99% of all money collected, and the other 0.01% is strictly to pay the auditor every year. But 99.99% of all monies raised goes back to the community.
And also you can, like as Bill said, you can go to our website is JohnnyDawsonFoundation.org. Or you can go to our website address is IBEWlocal1288.com. www.IBEWlocal1288.com. And you also can catch us on Facebook at IBEW Local.
Okay. I have another question that a lot of people wanted to know on Facebook. Can you tell me about the employment of relatives policy?
The employment of relatives policy, you are allowed to have employees that work at MLGW, but they cannot work under the same supervisor.
Okay.
So you can be in two different departments,
Okay.
but you can't be under the same supervisor.
And I think the reason that question was so important is because there were some people saying that there was a practice where relatives could not work for MLGW.
In fact, about 5-6 years ago, they had a policy where close relatives could not work at MLGW. But when Joseph Lee was president of MLGW, he changed that policies where all relatives can work at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water.
Okay. Does management work with you guys more so than not?
Pat?
Well, I mean, it's we try to have a harmonious relationship, and at some levels, we would hope that the most grievances were settled at the lowest step, but often they rise to the third step, and sometimes an arbitration mediation.
No, to answer your question directly, I would just say that you know, there's times when we have a lot of problems. They don't, and then there's times when we do work. They do work with us, and we get some things done.
Okay. Well, do you have members of the Johnny Dawson Foundation that you guys would like to recognize or give a shout out to or anything?
Well, let me just say, we want to recognize all the members of the Johnny Dawson Foundation that that money are coming out of their check every 2 weeks through payroll deduction to make it possible for us to really go help the community. Okay. And believe me, we have given out so far. We have given out about how much?
We've given out and collected over $500,000 as of
Oh,
last
wow,
week.
that's wonderful.
But we have actually given out, I would say, about 300,000. But we have raised, you know, the donations have been pretty generous. And we try to make sure we don't give out all the money at one, you know, and then we have to replenish. But the members is pretty generous. And you know, I want to thank our executive board, because all the members of the executive board, including our staff, all the officers of the union is also the member of the executive board.
Okay, because I see where you guys give out Christmas baskets or Thanksgiving baskets and feed the need. I saw that.
Yes.
Toy drive, we gave toys away.
For Christmas, we gave toys out to the needy children. For Christmas, we gave out baskets to the elderly. We tried to do our part. For Thanksgiving, we had a joint venture with 4 other unions, and what we did, we fed about, how many people?
About 450.
450, 500 people for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we try to do our part. What we're trying to do is change the face of labor.
Yep.
And the only way we're going to do that is we got to get out in the community and help the community in which we live and or work.
Right. Also, we have the Old School Talent Show coming up March the 8th at 7 o'clock at our Union Hall at 4,000 Clearpool Circle. Tickets are $12 at the door.
No,
Oh.
no, it's
$10 in
$10 in advance and $15 at the
Oh,
door.
excuse me, $15.
Anybody want a ticket, they can call area code 901-363-1563. We're having an Old School Talent Show, and all proceeds is going to the IBEW Johnny Dawson Charitable Foundation to help the community.
And you don't have to just work for MLG.
You don't have to be an employee. You can be a citizen, ratepayer. You don't have to stay in Memphis. You can stay in the surrounding areas, Mississippi, Arkansas, but you can call and get a ticket and help us come to the Old School Talent Show.
A lot of fun last year. You can see pictures on our website too, JohnnyDawsonFoundation.org.
That's
last
right.
year.
That's right.
Okay, well, I really want to thank you guys for being here, being a guest on my show. Is there any last words that you would like to say?
Well, I'd just like to say that I first thank our membership for making it possible for us to operate each and every day. And also wish that we could have a better relationship with MLGW management and get some problems solved. However, I understand the history and I understand how things work. So, you know, but I'd like to give a shout out definitely to our members and our officers of the union, because they cooperate with my office because I'm the principal officer of the union. They cooperate with me most of the time, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for your viewers and also our membership and people that donate to our foundation, because without you all, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. But giving back to the community is everybody's responsibility, and we're leading the way. We're on the cutting edge of that.
Okay. What about you, Pat?
Oh, yeah, I just want to thank all of the proceeds we do get from the public to our foundation, because, I mean, even some members of the public can give to it and through a check or coming by and just, I mean, they see the work we're doing. And like Rick has said, I mean, labor, in order to change the face of labor, labor had to step up and start doing some things in the community.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Anybody in the public that wants to donate to our charitable foundation, all you have to do is send a check to 4,000 Clearpool Circle, Memphis, Tennessee, 38118.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with Tamara. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with Tamara. Make sure you tune in again next week to a show that talks about real issues with real people, real talk in the community.
If you believe it tonight.
Are you an existing nonprofit organization, or you desire to start up your own nonprofit organization? You are invited to the Lunch and Learn seminar. You will receive information on 501c3, preparation, fundraising, marketing, public relations, social media, and much, much more. Limited space available. To reserve your seat at 901-286-8913